Welcome back to Mudwalkers. My name is Chris. Back in my textile days, when I would see a picture of a human being, I would tend to want to divide the body up into interesting and uninteresting body parts, shall we say. But now, naturism has changed the way that I think about the body, the way that I see the body. Now, instead of seeing people as human jigsaw puzzles, what I see is a whole. I see people as cohesive wholes. When you're talking to someone in a casual conversation, you don't immediately see that person's face as a conglomeration of irises and pupils and eyelashes and eyebrows and, bridges and nostrils and hairs and upper lip and lower lip and incisors and canines and jaws and chins and necks and ears and cheekbones and temples and foreheads and so all the parts. It's not how you see the face. Instead, you see a cohesive whole. I once heard Stefan from the Naturist Living Show. Fantastic podcast, by the way. If you haven't listened to it, give it a listen. It's amazing. The Naturist Living Show. And Stefan is the owner of Bear Oaks Family Naturist Park, a phenomenal place if the reviews are to be believed, and I tend to believe them. But he said that he was in the supermarket one day and a member from the park actually approached him and said hi. And the member said that he recognized Stefan because of his iconic mustache. And Stefan said that for a second he kind of struggled to remember who the person was because he wasn't used to doing, just facial recognition. He was used to doing, whole body recognition from a distance. You can really tell who someone is at a considerable distance if you're used to seeing the entire body. I've actually noticed this on social media when I see naturists that I know posting pictures on X or Instagram or whatever. Even if the image is just this tiny person in a big picture, I can usually tell who that is without even looking at the caption because I know what people look like, and it's easy to tell because the whole body is like a face. You can kind of just like recognize it. I've even noticed this at naturist resorts. When I'm in resorts, I can look out, and if there's someone that I know out there, I can recognize that person really tiny in the distance because I know what that person's body looks like. So at this point in my life, when I see a naked person online, I don't see a naked person. I just see the person. I just see a human. This is just what humans look like. But then, something else in here that we need to talk about before we move on is Patreon. This episode of Mudwalkers is brought to you by Patreon. These guys are my patrons. They're not insects. They're making the channel happen. They're keeping my work sustainable, and I am so excited about everything going on at Patreon. We have a monthly Zoom call for all the patrons at the Mudwalker level and above. There's a supporter level for $5 a month. Currently, at the time of this recording, it's $5. But starting at the Mudwalker level and up, everyone gets access to the monthly Zoom call. It's a great time to hang out and swap stories and share ideas and just in general, hang out and have fun. All of the tiers actually get early access to all my mainline content like this video, but there's also Patreon exclusive content that starts at the Mudwalker level and goes up from there. Those are things like cooking videos, travel vlogs, behind the scenes content, etc., that kind of stuff. So if you'd like to support what I do, be sure to check out the Patreon link here on screen or down in the description below. Every penny counts. I would love to be able to do bigger and better things with Mudwalkers. I'm already doing bigger and better things than I realistically dreamed of in the beginning because of the amazing outpouring of support so far. We're doing great things, we're going places, and if I kept going at this point, I'd be rambling, so let's get back into the video. Let's do a quick exercise. Here's a picture of a dog. Now, you might be confused because what you're looking at here is just a dog, right? I mean, you're not seeing nose, eyes, ears, neck, shoulders, elbows, paws, tail. You didn't immediately try to divide this dog up into covered and uncovered, good and bad parts, appropriate, inappropriate. What you saw was a dog, right? That's what we see when we see pictures of dogs, is we just see dogs. Even if the dog is naked, We don't draw lines that crisscross the dog's body into appropriate and inappropriate. The dog's hairy skin just flows from nose to tail to toes, and all that skin is just, you know, seen as dog. Lest we forget that Mudwalkers happens in my backyard, here is a break we're taking because of neighbor noise. It's just how it is. But while we're on break, let's take a look at this eastern lubber grasshopper, shall we? This is just a massive insect. They're harmless, so here's my hand for scale. I'm touching it. That's how big this insect is. It's a grasshopper, but this is a grasshopper unlike any other that I know of. Just spectacular. The noise seems to have dissipated. So, let's see. Where were we? Right, our little exercise. So we just saw a picture of a dog. Now, if you're on YouTube, you're going to see a censored drawing, so don't get scared. Don't be scared. But if you're on Vimeo, you'll be seeing an uncensored photograph of a real person or people, but just, you know, what humans look like, not with clothes on. So if you look at this image, what people like me see, what naturists see in an image like this, is just one cohesive whole. From the head all the way down to the feet, this is just one person. This is just what humans look like. Okay, I no longer see a conglomeration of parts. This is just one person. Just like with the dog. The dog's hairy skin, the dog's fur, whatever you want to call it, went from, you know, head to tail and from back to paws, all that stuff. I just see that the skin to me is just one cohesive element. It's just one person. Okay, so seeing people the textile way, seeing people as human jigsaw puzzles made up of parts instead of seeing them as cohesive wholes, that's not healthy. But how do we get from point A to point B? I know that's a question that a lot of you are going to have, and it's a valid question, so let's talk about it for just real quick. It comes down to experience, or what you might call exposure. In other words, you just have to see what humans really look like and just kind of get used to it over a series of experiences. And it doesn't take long. It's not rocket science. It's not super complicated. It's not even difficult to do, at least not in my experience. If you want some ideas on how I did that, maybe you can do it that way. Maybe there's some other method you want to use. Of course, the best thing to do is to get out to a naturist resort, but otherwise check out this video up here, which goes over, in part, around the middle of the video, I start going over how I really overcame this for myself. Because like I said, I used to see people as jigsaw puzzles, and now I don't. Well, what was that transition like? I go over that in that video. I hope this has been thought-provoking and entertaining. That's it for this video. I will see you in the next one.